G'day and welcome to Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by old man hosted himself, Algared. How you doing, mate? Feeling better?
Oh, I'm feeling crook actually.
Yeah, I
Got the
know.
flu.
Yeah, he had a big. I
Added,
talked.
added to my woes and
Well, I talked to him
tribulations.
last night, and he sounded like he put his tongue through a blender or something. It was awful.
Oh,
It's croaking like crazy.
I still feel pretty crook, but yeah, it's just the flu.
All right,
Um,
so some of you may or may not know this, but CIG reached out to a bunch of content creators and asked us to put our 2 cents in on what ships we would like to see for the Ship Showdown. This was a couple of weeks back, and Algared and I have recorded and put our submission in, and we were just talking about it, and we thought, well, let's look into that. Like what can we, what will be our predictions for the ones that'll probably come in, and what ones would we like to see come in? So this is a bit of a nostalgia berry, a little bit of hopefulness, and a little bit of what we will think will come up. Is there anything you
I
want
think,
to say to that?
yeah, yeah. I think there's a bit of a bit of a reality check as well. Like as we were talking, there were a couple of ships that we both kind of mooted and went, yeah, but it wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
For one reason or another.
100% went back both ways. So yeah. All right, so I'll cut it over to the browser, and these cut through because it makes a sound. So these are the first three. Me and Algared have kind of concluded that we think these three will make it into the final vote. Now, we're not saying all of them will, or well, I guess we are kind of saying some of them will, but we think of the new ones that came out last year. These are the top three contenders that we think that would be based on popularity. Algared, I think, would you kind of agree with
Yeah,
that terminology?
yeah. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. I think the Corsair is a classic example there. It is.
Yeah.
It is one of the most popular ships at the moment. If you look at the last analytics they had, it was one of the ships that had the highest kill ratio.
Yep, and it's still been very popular this year. We've seen a lot of people continue to play with it even after the win. I think one of those reasons it'll be up there. I think the other one that we could probably put in here is the Vulture, because the Vulture did come second last year. But I guess the reason we kind of didn't is we're kind of hopeful that these two new guys might come in and
yeah, that's right. So I can see the Corsair getting in there. I personally don't like flying the Corsair. It's just a me thing. It's nothing to do with it being Drake. There's something about that ship that I like. But I also just don't. It's just not a ship that speaks to me. It's just.
I think it's got a little bit to do with when you're trying to land, it's like an open pizza box. That's how I describe it, because it's just too high up and the camera's a little weird. But again, that might change a little bit down the road as they work more independently and customize things down the line. It's got a really nice skin that came out through Subflare this month as well. So, and the same for the Vulture. They both had it. The Spirit, obviously, this really came in and kind of mixed up that whole Cutlass Freelancer area, and it's going to happen again this year once the Zeus lands as well. And I have no doubt the Zeus will be on this list, kind of taking over this spot if we were to do this video in 12 months' time. It's just come in, and it's a really great little fit. I didn't put the E1 on here, and I didn't put the A1 on here. It's just the C1, because I think this is really where it's at. I do see this ship a lot in game, but I would also say I see the Corsair a hell of a lot more. So this is a little bit hopium on our part, wouldn't you say, Algared?
I could see, and I wouldn't mind seeing a C1. Yeah, in partly because it just that tractor beam on the back just works so well for getting cargo in, and the way you can just move things around, and the way you can see the camera. It just had that. It just feels like it's got that versatility tick boxed.
Agreed. That kind of, like, to elaborate on what you're saying there, it kind of works really well with those 32 SCU containers. They kind of like just slip right in naturally and work really quickly. So down the line, it's going to have a huge benefit.
Yeah, and that's going to be really huge. Like I know at the moment with hangars, we're seeing, a 32 SU container takes as long as 32 individual containers to load. But C1 will easily be able to load those. You'd be able to load a 232 SU containers really quickly into that rather than waiting. So it's just a ship that's got it, and it's a brand of ship that is popular. The old Crusader ships are quite popular. So.
All right, the Saulian. Now, I think this will kind of be a very debatable fight, because I still think the Cutter is still very popular. I was really surprised the cutter did not kind of take the whole thing last year. I think it kind of shows that the vote is really done by those more dedicated people, those hardcore fans, because most of us have bigger fleets. I wouldn't say that we have the biggest fleets. I just think we are more invested in the game, so we've kind of spent more, if you get my drift, right?
Yep.
And I still think a lot more people own the cutter. So I'd like to see this or the cutter get in there. But I do think this, they sold a lot of these last year because it was just so unique as a starter ship. And I know that I gifted a couple last year, and I know you did the same, Algared. So yeah, I don't know. What's your thoughts on that one?
I really like this ship, the Basilean, just because it's so unique. It's different. You get
Yeah.
in it, you're looking up. Your controls are basically inverted, so it takes a bit of time of getting used to. But it is a nice little ship. It's got full on living conditions, or that type of arrangement. I
They
still
captured
think
the
cutter,
alien aesthetic, didn't they?
yeah, it's got the alien aesthetic down pat. It really is an alien ship compared to everything else we've got, and that's what makes it unique. And you don't go. It didn't have that same Redeemer, where it's got the jaws that feel out of place in the verse because no other ship's got those engines. This, you see it and go, yeah, this is an alien ship. It's got that feel about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do like that. I do think the cutter's probably still slightly better.
Agreed.
Probably more popular.
It's just because it's got an ease of use factor. You don't have to learn, you're saying how you get in and it's all inverted and stuff. It's just got to get in and it makes sense approach, where this has got a learning curve. And when you're first into the game, unless you're really versed at first-person shooters or you're just, really in the games and you can pick things up really quickly, that's just an extra step that adds to the complexity.
So, yeah, I could see either of those getting in. I'd like to see either of them get in. Doesn't really bother me which one, but yeah, I'd like to see a Sullivan just because it's unique. Yeah. My concern would be, and this is my negative against the Sullivan getting in and getting a Ship Showdown skin, is I haven't yet seen any skins for it that make me think, yeah, this is a good skin. The base skins that it's got, really highlight the finish and that alien finish.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen any generic skins that really just speak. And so that, I think, makes me go...
Yeah, so they've got to really tailor that alien look to that ship. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that. And it's like the other alien skins. If you look at them, they seem to take away from the Defender. They seem to take away from the Cartoile and the Santokai and this. They don't feel right. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that. So these are our kind of a little bit of predictions. We could be completely off the mark here, but we just want to share kind of, because people go, why didn't you pick some of these? And that's why, because these are the ones we're pretty sure will get in, or we hope that they will get in. As we go on to the next screen though, these are going to be the ones that we would like to see get in, and I'd like to say in the comments, see if you can predict which one me and Algared sent a video in for, right? And see if you got it right or not. So we send a video in for one of these next 4, and you get to pick which one. All right. I got to flick it over now to the other one. All right.
Yep.
So these are the 4 that we would like to see get some love and get some work. We went through every ship. We kind of went through and had a look which ones have skins, which ones don't. Now, the first one straight off the cab, back off the rank, the whole reason that the PVT is there, is because they contacted me and Paul and told us, we are not going to let you put that on. They cut it off the list because they said, we'll do a skin for it and you'll have it within 12 months. It's been 2 years. We don't have our skin. CIG, if you're watching this video, where's our skin? You promised us a skin within 12 months. It's been 2 years. Where's my skin?
And, I've got to say, the PTV is the first usable vehicle ship we had in game. It was actually made originally so to help people with big fleets who had put them all into their hangar by modifying the code. And then so they could drive down the length of their hangar. And CIG then added an obstacle course. So you could actually play the game, play the hangar game in your PTV.
And there were skins, Algared, that you could buy for it that don't work anymore.
Yeah. And the other thing with the PTV, when they created it, they actually created a massive lore for it.
Yep.
So the PTV is made by Grey Cat as a mine to aid miners in the in the mining shaft, and it's made to help them survive and get out and travel around.
Yep.
Massive lore for it. massive just introduction, just a fun little vehicle.
Yep.
Absolutely has a useless value, but in terms of the game, very first vehicle we could play and drive.
So. Next one off the rank, pushed by the AstroPub, us and a bunch of other people. It got and up and won the original MPV. We want to do it again with a tractor. I think we could do it again with this one, as I think we could do it with any of the 4 on this screen. And I think it, they essentially added the ability for this thing to have a skin. And you correct me if I'm wrong, Algared, other than when this thing was dropped, there had been no other skins that had come along after they'd already released that blue skin. So we had the default orange and a blue, and now I think we've got 3 more, like 2 years later.
Yeah.
They didn't learn their lesson. They didn't go, oh, here, have 5 skins for this thing. They just didn't do anything. It was weird.
Yeah, the MPUV is another one of those classic ships for Star Citizen. It, again, had a lot of lore that goes with it. So for those who like having things steeped in lore, the MPUV, originally built by Argo, to solve a logistics problem because there was a loggerhead where their cargo was being delayed and they were losing money. And they realised it was the loading from the trains up to the stations and ships. And so they built the MPUV. In the lore, it was such a good, sturdy, solid, reliable little ship that even after Argo had decided it was past its life, it was past its usable life, people were buying them and using them to help offload their hull Cs and other stuff. And so we're supposed to see these ubiquitous little ships everywhere. If the hull Cs are ubiquitous, these are there as well. It is so popular that the Navy use them on the Idrises and the javelins.
Yeah.
The cargo section, the cargo pod, or the section for the pod, the passenger one is actually the life pod, the 8-man life pod from an Idris, or from a javelin, sorry. And that javelin pod, that escape pod, is actually the same dimensions used on the 890 jump.
Yeah.
So it's an absolute workhorse little ship. It's a stevedora's gem. It's everything. And now we've got a new version of the MPUV with the tractor beam.
And I do think that tractor beam should probably be standard across the variants too, but we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
There. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, the Terrapin. Me and Algared kind of discovered this. We'd already had the other 3, and then we kind of discovered this one when we went back through all the skins today, and we went, oh, the Terrapin, holy crap, how do we not remember this one?
We booted one we had, and we said, go away, get out.
Yeah, we did have another one here, and we got that out because we think this is better than it. So yeah. So yeah, the Terrapin, like it clearly was going to be originally designed to have the components go in it. It's kind of been sat there for a while and not had a lot of love. There's been a lot of talk about a variant for it. We know that they kind of toyed with a search and rescue variant. We know in lore that there was a boarding kind of armored ship variant. It's a great little ship, and it's never got a skin.
Yeah, it is a ship that, in terms of the boarding variant, it's the ship, or the version which has got the sheets, is the one that the Marines like because it's armored, it can get in, it keeps them safe. It may be cramped and it may be uncomfortable, but it's there. It's another ship. Like I think it's true of all these 4. They've all got an element of lore that makes them unique. They're all oldish, apart from the MPUV tractor.
Are you noticing there's a kind of like Anvil biased? I'm starting to wonder if CIG don't like Anvil for some reason. But
yeah. I just noticed that as you were pointing it out yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, the old Terrapin. What's not to like about the Terrapin? I remember when it first came out, the way the doors open, it was just it just captured your heart.
Well, you know how they went back and they're doing Saber variants. That's what they need to do this thing, to onboard some people, do some variants for this thing, because that'll be popular more so than Raven variants. Do some variants of the Terrapin. You'll sell a couple there, I'm sure.
Especially since it's got, part of its equipment is 2 utility mounts, 2 sized utility mounts course, scanners or sensors. So,
well, again, being variants, you could lose one of those to gain something else, or vice versa. You know,
could could you get a an info running version? One that sits there and picks up info and then hauls it off. Could you?
yep.
So
An Armored
the
Herald sounds like a win to me.
the list of possibilities is legion. So yeah.
All right, the Gladiator. This is probably one of the older ships in the game that hasn't had some kind of rework. Like, it's right up there with the Hornet. It pretty much went Hornet than this. And it is very clunky and dated by today's standards, but there is just something about it. You get in it, and it just feels amazing. It feels like, and I've said to Algared a few times, it feels like a World War, like they called this game World War II in space, but it feels like a World War I plane. Like, it's that out of date. It feels good. It's weird. They recently upgraded the turrets, Algared was telling me, to size 3s, I think you said, yeah? It's meant to do torpedo bombers and normal bombs or cargo, so it's still got that little bit of versatility like the cargo box on the Hornet. That if you've ever seen one of these things land, the way the landing gear comes out is just exceptionally cool. Like, it's almost like a double folded wing thing. There's a lot to love about this ship. It just needs some love, some update, and some skin. And I have no doubt all of these will eventually get it. It's just really, I guess, what do you call it? An order? I don't know what to call that. Like, sooner rather than later would be nice, type of thing.
Yeah, it struggled early on because it was a 2-person ship. Its turret only had pea shooters.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were in a Hornet F7M, F7CM, if you didn't have a second person, the turret guns were slaved.
Yeah.
And that was because they were remote for the Rio. In this, it was a man turret, so you couldn't remote control them.
Yeah.
And so it used to lose out. But I think that was also became part of the premise for what we see in the Hurricane and we see in the other one, the Scorpius.
Yep.
But the fact that it's a torpedo boat, it to me, it really resembles or picks up the imagery of the Dauntless from World War II.
Yeah.
When it first came out, top of the line, pick of its day, but by the start of the war, it was out of date.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's again, this is a ship that's got a heap of lore based around it. The famous 88 Squadron Lost Squad were using these. It was key for the defense of Caliban and holding the line to help stabilize while they were getting people out. And the Lost Squad basically die because they don't give up, they don't surrender, they fight to the last and are responsible for so many of the citizens who now live in Vega escaping those systems when the Taliban attacked.
The Taliban?
Yeah.
Right, he's got a cold, guys, but I had to give him shit. I'm allowed to give him shit. Your guys are not allowed to give him shit. I'm allowed to give him shit.
But yeah, it's the unsung hero.
No, I don't. Yeah.
In fact, it is also the only ship that I can recall that has been a magazine centerfold. They did the blueprint that was in one of the computer maps years ago.
Yep. I'd also challenge people to try and take it out now and say do something like Vandal or Pirate Swarm. It would be incredibly difficult to get it completed in it now in its current state. I'm sure someone could pull it off, but yeah, it just needs some love. But yeah,
can you take ships into Vandal Storm
now? Sorry, say again.
Can you take a crew member into Vandal Storm?
You can.
We should try it.
Yeah, I did it with a few other people, but yeah, I'll take you in. Yeah, why not?
We should try it with the Gladiator in Vandal Storm without torpedoes.
Maybe we'll do it on stream one day. So yeah, I don't know. So in the comments below, let us know what you guys think. We did have a quick talk to the AstroPub. He was in favor of the Tractor and the Gladiator, and we were thinking along the same lines. So maybe I'll at AstroPub in the title of this one and put it back to him, and maybe we can get a reply from him. But yeah, I think the Terrafin's definitely got a Let's say the Terrapin. The Terrapin has definitely. I'm turning into Algared. Look, slowly but surely, he's having this effect on me. The Terrapin.
Just getting old, face it.
Yeah, so the Terrapin, I think, has got to definitely be up there in the vote, as with the other two. So let us know your thoughts in the comments below, both about, you know, what one you thought we sent in, what do you think about choices, and what also do you think will win. So there's a bit of discussion there. I just like to get that thought process going, because again, if we want to push one of these as a community, now's the time to talk about it, because we're going to be voting on these in about a month or so. I think it's September we start voting, so it's not too far away. I know that sounds like it is, but it's going to fly, you know, at times like as you get older. So yeah. All right, is there anything you want to hear in the comments below besides those, Algared, or is there anything else?
I'd like to know what chips you would like to see in the.
That's a good point.
What ones you think will get in, what ones you'd like to see in, and why you'd like to see them get in.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good speculation exercise, because you do have to rein yourself in, because you do instinctively want ships that you own to win, right? That is, let's not put around the bush. That's how we all are. But then you have to try and put the every person hat on and go, well, what have I seen in game a lot? What comes up a lot? What's new? What's old? Well, it's kind of what happened to the Carrack. The Carrack came up and won it, and then it quickly fell off. It wasn't even in the vote at all last year, right? Because people were annoyed by it winning so much, right? And is that going to happen this year? Because we now know the 600i has as many skins as the Carrack. Does that mean it's going to fall off now too? So we don't know.
And then when the MPUV won, it was, you know, people were jack of all the big ships always winning, and pushing the big sales.
And there was a lot of people really mad that the MPUV won, right? But it was a point. People were trying to make a point to CIG, and CIG clearly missed the entire point.
Well, I remember CIG were I heard were annoyed, or certain people in CIG were annoyed that this MPUV was ruining our sale.
Yeah, and then they were surprised how many they actually sold. So it all came around, and I think they got the message, but then lost it again down the road. So yeah. All right, I think that kind of wraps it up from us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you guys that went that extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. You definitely helped us with CitizenCon this year. Right.
Indeed.
He's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens.